Wow, that's good timing. Okay, so apparently Justin Trudeau's party people don't like us. How do I know? Because every show where the schedule's known beforehand that's going to be about the election, our channel's gotten absolutely shit upon. They've been, DOS attacks and so forth every fucking time over the last few months. Why? Because a few months ago I said I had Justin Trudeau's home invaded, which isn't true because he doesn't have a home. He stays at the government house. Yes, the Prime Minister is sleeping on a native person's couch. Yes. The Inuit person. Anyway. So today is apparently election day. I got nothing to say about it. I'm actually thinking there won't be anything useful to find on the news. Well, let's see.
As of single lane option, and we still have this closure at Victoria Park and
an individual who sort of purports that he understands politics. Clearly he doesn't. He's just voting out of frustration. And you know what? You're just going to vote Trudeau back in.
Well, Ari, so
and if you love chicken like I love chicken, you love the fatty part of the chicken like I love fat, you're going to like this story.
The way you truly feel. There's an inherent message there, and you let the chips fall where they may.
Got a disease
I get it, but
it actually makes the chicken have more fat in the muscle. In the muscle.
This coalesces around, I don't know, a movement or a party, or more people start to examine.
I don't know, a movement or a party. That's how white guys that think they're in charge dismiss nations.
And I wouldn't deny anybody that. That's why, I get you have your point of view, he had his, and this is what in the great maw of electoral politics. At the end of the day, I guess some things get sorted out. Maybe not always to our liking, but that's the way the system does work.
He began a 3-week run at the top of the charts.
we should be playing Stuck With You tomorrow, or when we find out what's happening with the voting, right, Norm?
That's right. Yeah. And boy, I'll have to tell you, I'm fascinated.
That's the Zoomer humor. Zoomer humor.
It is indeed. I mean, I'm just reading some stats here. Elections Canada said that close to 7 million people voted early, including myself, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them at the advanced polls, but the majority of Canada's more than 30 million eligible voters will do so today. I'm just also noticing the lineups are quite long in Toronto. It's because they've cut back at these polling stations. So unfortunately, you will be waiting longer to cast your vote. You like that? Cast your vote?
.ca/
Zoomer humor. They're boomers with Zoom. They Zoom,
Mazda isn't finished until it's connected to you. Enjoy a 2-year free.
You try connecting the car to me, I'm going to be very upset.
Radio 640 Toronto chopper traffic.
Today, Chris didn't expect to need intact insurance on his short drive, but across town, a young woman's alarm didn't go off, which made her miss.
Do you hear the helicopter in the background?
She was supposed to meet as time to walk her dog. Lou's leash broke just as Chris was taking a turn, so he swerved away, but got in a minor fender bender. Since you can't expect the unexpected, you can submit a claim on the Intact Insurance app.
Since you can't expect the unexpected. So you took a saying people have and you tried to change it and correct it. You're fucking dumb, man. Insurance companies got more money than anybody. They make more money off of their assets, their investments, their holdings, than they do off of the premiums they collect. They could literally provide insurance for free. And this is who you pay to come up with an ad. Oh, you can't expect the unexpected. Wow. Well, click, changing the channel now. If it's that stupid on the commercial, I'm not talking to you on the phone. If you threw money at that, I don't want to give you my money. Call it bad advertising.
And turned it into a lottery. We call it Lightning Lotto. A $125,000 jackpot keeps growing.
Pfizer is making its case to allow its shot to be used in kids 5 to 11, saying testing has shown it is effective. Ontario reporting 610.
So just remember, Last Friday, they told us they're going to test it for 6 months on children, and it will take 4 weeks to get the data. 3 days later, that 6 months of testing is done, and it's perfectly safe. We didn't see anything bad. We didn't see anything bad, because no data is data, and that's science, quote unquote, the mayor of Halton Hills.
There is plenty of reason to be concerned with reuse dollars more. Order online at P.
Should I just give you dead silence for a minute? Like, what am I supposed to do here? So I robbed the food bank. I got a lot of onions and carrots, tomatoes. I'm gonna grow all these tomatoes.
ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈ ਵੋਟ ਪਾਉਣ ਦਾ ਅਧਿਕਾਰ ਮਿਲਿਆ ਸੀ ਹਾਲਾਂਕਿ ਔਰਤਾਂ ਲਈ ਇਹ ਅਧਿਕਾਰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਰਾਖਵਾਂ ਰੱਖਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਸੀਗਾ ਵੋਟਾਂ ਦਾ ਅਧਿਕਾਰ ਸਿਰਫ ਆਦਮੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀ ਪੂਰੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ 1960
Tim Hortons roll up to win is back, and you may be one roll away from a fresh.
Most disgusting contest. Oh, because you're doing it with your mouth. No, because you're wrecking your teeth.
It's a free time. No purchase necessary. Rules apply. Visit the app for more details.
The John Oakley.
Everybody goes, it's Canadian. Who owns the company? It's traded on stock exchanges around the world. It ain't Canadian. It's a publicly traded company. It's named after a guy who was drunk driving his car, his sports car, running from the cops high on coke. This is why I think Jim Norton really should be the, well, this is bad. It doesn't say Tim Hortons, it's way down here. Jim Norton. So I just screwed up the flow. Jim Norton really should be the spokesperson for Tim Hortons. I believe that. I believe that because they're the same scumbag. You know, same level of scumbaggery.
From the, well, imminent in the next few days anyway. But before we get to that, how people have been prompted to vote. We were asking that question, taking calls, and I had optimism, anger, or apathy on the table. Many were sort of using derivatives, even frustration, and so on and so forth. And it seems like a lot of that might be borne out by how you've perceived certain platforms. Or
born out by. Born out by. Way to misuse the English language when you swear this is a white Anglophone country, even though you're in the minority, you pussy. The only pass you get is that you're a public figure on the radio. Otherwise, you'd be getting something. Born out.
This, I mean,
you ever heard assholes like this cuss out a new immigrant for misusing the English language because they're francophones?
In the last decade or so, is democracies around the world sort of under threat from misinformation.
So democracy is where whoever forms the largest group gets to boss around the majority. It's not where the majority rules. Okay? Democracy is the piss poor cousin of consensus. Democracy comes from the land of raping children and calling it love. Oh, you don't like that? You don't like me saying that? Stop lying about it. The Constitution of the United States was based on the same charter as the 5 nations, later the 6 nations, when the Tuscarora was sponsored in by the Seneca. Tuscarora being essentially displaced American Indians and what's the word? Freed slaves. I hate using those words. And the parts of it that they changed were the parts where consensus is key. Right. How come 2 people can outweigh 8 other people? Oh, because they're a bigger group than each of us individually. Right. That sounds like gang warfare, where you get shot in the back of the head while you're sitting at the drive-thru.
Misinformation, which has really sort of driven the campaign in many ways, talking, of course, about the angry protesters disrupting Liberal leader Justin Trudeau's event, but also kind of focusing on
this shit? Made with cauliflower, triple cheese.
Mandates and the importance.
Prepared in Canada. That's great. By an American company for Mexican ingredients.
And there's also been sort of a set of narratives.
Prepared in Canada means nothing. Has no legal meaning.
Election integrity itself.
Heinz, Kraft Heinz.
I know, because
There's two companies that have been fucking Canada forever.
Periodically, those who believe.
Why is this $2.29 and e-tail past is 50 cents?
Their argument is the truth is
where the fuck are the ingredients?
In other words, there is no correct or, your correct answer is not necessarily their correct answer. So just to
freeze-dried cauliflower, that's disgusting.
The frame of reference here.
I'm already opposed to the use of wheat.
Stories or narratives that are being followed by a significant number of people on social media and so on and so forth. How do you disabuse them of the truth that they hold dear?
Oh, well, you just called it the truth.
Really,
because there's multiple truths. No, there's not, white
people
boy.
have different factual interpretations of politics all the time. I mean, really, that's what politics is in some ways about. Conservatives have a different view of the world than liberals, for example, in terms of how best to govern a country. Of course, it's a challenge. One of the
See
things
the knot you're tying in this? I know you think you're special, but it actually shows your retardation.
A real global effort to try to understand the virus, try to understand its contagion.
Because we don't understand viruses.
And actually,
viruses are brand new. We don't understand.
Maybe there are not any perfect right answers, and there are.
Remember the cop who asked me, "Oh, so are you immunocompromised?" Because it's okay, you can choose to be black. Because even white guys get sickle cell now because it's a what did he say? It's an iron deficiency. But he knew all about it. So while he's spitting disinformation, he knew all about it.
That's not relative. That's a fact.
Angus Bridgman's with us, director of the Canadian Election Misinformation Project. Angus, what have you noticed? Are there camps coalescing around the misinformed narrative? Is it an ad hoc group, or do you think? I mean, because I know you cite.
Because we can't label them unless we can label them.
For example,
anti-vaxxers, which are not a thing.
The anti-vaxxer component now. The leader
there's like 3 guys in all of Canada,
and in fact, it's just all about choice.
They're the same people that stormed the Capitol Hill in the U.S. Yeah,
coalescing around a certain party affiliation.
You know what they won't talk about? The KKK opening up a chapter in Saskatchewan. They won't mention
those who are particularly misinformed about COVID-19 and have been sort of stewing in this conspiracy theory bath over the last year and a half.
Hold on. Conspiracy theory is a made-up term by the CIA. Anything that they don't want people to know about, they refer to as a conspiracy theory. So when you label it that, you're not discrediting us, you're discrediting yourself.
Their platform, for example, contains information saying that.
And hey, my people aren't listening. They're only listening to this channel. So when I talk over you, it does have an effect.
Actually, that they are, and that's misinformation. So even if there's not,
you got to think like you're in jail. There's 6. I'm going to put 3 in the cup twice.
He does have this information as part of their platform. Now,
as opposed to every other party which doesn't, right?
Party, and I don't want to say that.
Hey, how about all 3 major parties getting caught distributing cocaine to youth? Right off of the party van, 2005 or some shit. Remember that?
It has lent them electoral appeal this election.
Right, the same year Timothy O'Rourke got hit by a drunk driver.
It's been scientifically shown that
Victor Fletcher's car got blown up by a pipe bomb. Carolyn Connolly got stabbed to death with a sai by the Indian posse. And Jermaine Lincoln Brown got shot 5 times for no reason.
Lockdowns and their outcomes are better than most of the countries in Europe. I'm not sure how you counter that then.
Most of the countries in Europe.
Florida, for example, now obviously there's a spike there. There's been in hospitalizations. That's come down somewhat. So how do we respond to that? Because again, that's a difficult one when they cite an example like Sweden, for instance.
Of course, and that's very much part of this sort of do your own research, part of digital activism. People go online, they are trying to understand the evidence just as well as everyone else. I think there's the requirement here for a little bit of humility. I'm not an epidemiologist. I'm a social scientist. And what I do is I go by mainstream scientific opinion. Scientific opinion is based on a collective enterprise of testing out hypotheses and trying to slowly advance the community towards a better.
What do you got to say about all these red dots, bro?
The global scientific consensus on Sweden is that yes,
they're white people. They can do what they want and not get sick. So how come the rest of the white people can't do that?
Their Nordic neighbors, they've been worse performing. And there's not particularly good evidence that type of model would work in society where people are less likely to engage voluntarily in some of the social norms that they have been that Swedes seem to sort of be comfortable with. I think people can do their own research, and You know, you
No,
should
they
be
can't.
reading the
They can do their
scientific
own
literature that is
review, which in English is reading.
the entire
You're not
research
doing
science
research when you
correct.
type
It's
things
just
on
a,
Google.
you know, a
You're
fundamental misunderstanding
reading.
of how decentralized
You're reviewing somebody else's
science is,
review
how
of
that moves
research.
forward.
So again, you
All right,
discredit
so this
yourself,
cherry
white
picking
boy.
insofar as supporting a narrative or a bias. The other thing I'm curious about is, I mean, when you talk about misinformation,
Because the
is
only
it
time
also
somebody's
something
supporting a
akin to
particular narrative or a
mischaracterization? For
bias
example,
is when they admit it up
they'll say
front.
they won't introduce a
I'm
home
not going to
equity tax.
partake in
Conservatives
somebody
say
supporting
they will. The
bias.
liberals will say the conservatives want to take away a woman's right to choose. And Aaron O'Toole's been emphatic.
An
He's
argument that's been closed for
pro-choice. I mean,
40 years,
so these
50 years.
misrepresentations in, or I guess conceivably misrepresentations, are those the same thing as
What is the
misinformation?
only society,
So it is a,
racially,
it is part of
ethnically, that
misinformation,
believes
absolutely. It's not
that if you have their child, they own you?
because
What's the only one?
politics is full of
Western
facts.
European, that's right.
This is not a new phenomenon that parties try to
And that view is
mischaracterize
held
their
by the
opponent's
lower classes
position.
who
They
were
try to
evicted
frame their own
from
position
Europe and sent
to broaden
to
the appeal of
Canada,
the
the
modal
United
voter.
States, and
We also saw
Australia.
this, for example, with Freeland.
Hollandia, that's right,
The
Hollandia.
video early on in the campaign, some people may remember Twitter flagged it as manipulated media, and that was about saying that O'Toole supported privatization of healthcare.
Well, he said
One of the things about misinformation like this is it can lead to very polarized.
Except he said he did.
amongst the larger
He
population.
said he
For
did.
example,
It wasn't manipulated. It took a week to get to the bottom of that.
a majority of liberals believe that O'Toole does support privatization of healthcare, whereas a majority of his own party supporters, conservatives, do not believe that. So this is the classic case.
That's funny because the conservatives want privatized healthcare. So what you just said is counterintuitive. It's illogical.
Coming from somebody
So
you
looking
trust,
right at that,
trust
you know
to be
your
able to
survey
do it,
data is
even
wrong.
if it's untrue. So that's
99% of the party thinks that the party leader holds a view opposite to them.
It's unfortunate, but it's not new, and
It's unfortunate.
it's not
These
the
unfortunate
type of thing that
souls
we're
of the lower
easily
blood
troubled
that
by,
don't.
because it's always
White people have
existed in
only
democracy
existed
that
for
managed to
4,500
survive
years.
in that context. What we're more concerned about is sort of either foreign interference or, deep misinformation.
Go the
that
fuck
can lead
home,
to
white boy.
like
You don't like foreign interference in our elections? Go home, white boy.
For example, concerns about mail-in ballots being less trustworthy than in-person ballots, or concerns about, for example, voting machines in the Canadian context. We've seen a lot of that misinformation circulating on social media, but of course, Canadian federal elections run by Elections Canada do not use automatic voting machines. So that's the type of misinformation which can undermine democracy.
Only the city elections.
Well, you clarified a lot of points. And I
Only the
appreciate
city of
you joining
Toronto
us, Angus.
elections.
Good to talk. Angus,
Where they push people out of the line.
Project. Hour 2 awaits. Oakley Show.
Remember that at Wallace Emerson? Remember the white boy?
So what do you think?
They're all volunteers from the neighborhood. You think he don't live around here? You think we don't know who he is?
Long way to get here, but it's all worth it.
The 2021 Ford Escape has an available hybrid engine with overnight.
Well, no, it doesn't. Because if it's an engine, it's not a hybrid anything. It's one thing. It's not a hybrid till you hook something else up to it.
Election Day. Good afternoon. I'm Scott Burnett.
And I'm Kate Lindley. Here's what's making news this hour.
Polls are open across the GTA and people are casting their ballots.
Oh, it's very quick and easy.
The longest wait is in the line outside. Some people are waiting.
The longest wait is in the line outside. Hey, stupid. If you're measuring from when you get to the lineup to when you leave, the whole thing is one period of time. The longest wait is in the lineup outside. Now remember, we broke down logically this whole thing about, oh, there's the lineups at the grocery stores are so horrible. Yeah, instead of waiting 5 minutes at the end of your trip, you're waiting 5 minutes at the beginning. Wow. Wow. We're going to reduce the hours of the store. We're going to tell you to send less people, less often, buy less stuff, and wonder why the stores are more crowded. Because you're stupid. Remember, the shops you're trying to run, you're mimicking what Asians and Africans have been doing and First Nations here have been doing for thousands of years. You're mimicking it. You have only been doing that for about 150 years. Around the same time you actually built proper sewerage for your communities. You've only had proper sewers for 150 years. Yeah, you're disgusting. Every fucking race around the world sees you as inherently disgusting because you all think the same way. It's okay to rub my shit on somebody else. No, it's not. Why are you people arguing with me about you're going to piss next to the daycare entrance and it's okay? Oh, I don't know what it's like to drink beer and be old. You're telling me about how you're older than me. And you know personally my medical condition. You're funny, bro. Oh, you're not all the same. Okay, differentiate. You can't.
Salem and Broad Street towards Stevenson. North DVP heavy out of downtown right now from the Gardner to York Mills. North 404 delays, Highway 7 to north of 16th Avenue, and northbound 400's busy from Blankstep to north of Tustin. And if you're headed towards the city, southbound 404 DVP delays from Finch to south of Lawrence.
Exciting recipes from Egg Farmers of Ontario at getcracking.ca. And I'm Ari Yerbenovich with Global News Radio 640 Toronto Chopper Traffic.
Don't just know the story. Understand it.
Harbor Resort. You've come for a day now. You can stay for a lifetime. Register at front.
You're listening to Global News Radio 640 Toronto. This is Global News at 4 o'clock.
Good afternoon. I'm Danny Longo. It's cloudy and 22 degrees. Polls are open across the country in the first pandemic-era federal election, and people are casting their ballots with a workday coming to
The first pandemic-era federal election. Hold on. Is now an era of pandemics. We've had one pandemic for about 2 years. March 2019, it was detected in frozen sewage sample from Spain. So I don't know when it was detected, but it was detected. I forget now. I think it was January, or whatever. But they detected it in March 2019. Now it's an era of pandemic. This is the first ever in an era of pandemic. You are fucking retarded. You people had to go to tertiary school. You know, post-secondary, the number that comes after 2. I went to more than 2 school. Tertiary. The rest of the world calls it tertiary. I knew there was something wrong with you. And you still say stupid shit like that. And remember, listen to his accent. He's the brown-skinned man that lives up to the British citizenship of Aryan brotherhoodness out of Hindustan, right? You're so superior to us, you get to scream at us that we're thieves because we stole a word that we were using for 400 years before you renamed your country after your pimp told you to. Your whole country's full of whores. That's all I got to say about it.
close at 9:30.
Every single person that comes from that country to here to take a job acts like an asshole to everybody. The only people I ever seen act like that, crack hookers.
And nationally from 10 p.m. across all global affiliated television stations. City of Toronto says almost 88% of staff who disclose their status are fully vaccinated against COVID-19, and 5% have received only their first shot. It says 87% of the active workforce disclosed their vaccination status.
That's
as
93%.
required by last
Hold on.
Friday under
5%.
the mandatory vaccination
What did you
policy
just
for
say?
employees. It says staff who have not been fully
5%.
vaccinated or who did not
88% of 5%. Wow.
will be required to complete mandatory education starting this week. Cities
What about mandatory testing? Mandatory education. The vaccine we purchased is the one that works because we said so.
Accommodation for those unable to get the shot. Now, Ontario's proof of vaccination policy is set to take effect this week. Comes into play on Wednesday.
If you want to enjoy a meal inside a restaurant, go to a nightclub, a gym, a casino, maybe a movie theater, or other.
Then you're
non-essential
already
businesses.
stupid because it's the
Starting
most
Wednesday,
cross-contaminated
you
food in the
will
world
receive
at the
full
restaurants here.
vaccination and photo ID at the door to get in. You can get a copy of your vaccination status on the province's website, where you will have the option to print or even save your receipt as a PDF to your phone. This process will be in place for
As a
about month
PDF.
until the government's QR.
So anybody could just make one of these up.
Into effect. Alberta rolled out its new vaccine-proof card yesterday, and already there are some problems with it. It's a printable copy that doesn't include a QR code yet, and some users have already taken to social media to say the PDF isn't locked. So it's pretty easy to edit the card and then put in whatever fake information you want. Sandy Salerno, Global News.
Some big news for parents, especially those with
So
kids
you
who
people are
in
dumb enough to think,
school.
if it's locked,
Says their COVID-19
if it's locked, I couldn't possibly photocopy it.
And they say they'll submit
You
it for emergency
fucking
use in the US
retards.
by the end
White
of this
people.
month, so
We're so smart that if we can't think of it, nobody else can. Shut your mouth, nigger. You can't think of what you just said.
Is smaller than an adult dose, about a third of the size, and needs 2 doses, just like adults. Infectious disease specialist Dr. Isaac Bogash was asked about the findings.
We might see approval of this probably before the end of the year. And I think many parents will be relieved to hear that. I think one other key thing is
The side effects of the vaccine are known to be worse than the potential effects of COVID.
Really
And children can't be super spreaders. They don't have jobs. They don't go socializing. It's impossible unless you spread it. In which case, the kid got it from you, not the other way around.
To those of teens and young adults, in better news, they saw fewer side effects like sore arms, fever, or aches. Toronto Blue Jays open a 3-game series with the American League East, leading the Rays tonight in Tampa, Florida. Robbie Ray gets the start for Toronto. He's 4-0 with a 1.8 ERA in 10 starts since July 21st loss to Boston. The Blue Jays hold the second spot in the AL wildcard race.
I call the city and complain that there's cigarette smoke and car exhaust being pumped into the
Download
air.
our Global News Sky Tracker app and have weather alerts sent right to your phone. The forecast from the Global News Weather Center: a chance of some showers tonight, a low of 19. Tomorrow, some afternoon showers, a high of 22 with a low of 19 overnight. Some heavy rainfall possible on Wednesday, a high of 21. It's 22 degrees in downtown Toronto. I'm Danny Longo. This is Global News Radio, 640 Toronto.
Tired of being limited by joint pain? Regain your active life.
Are you in pain? Take our drug that's not technically a drug, and we can sell it to you. And shh, don't tell the government. Y'all want to be the drug dealer now. Oh, it's legal. It's legal. What is it? It doesn't fucking work. That's all I know.
La semaine dernière a commencé la saison régulière, en tout cas à Radio-Canada, à la télé. Mais vous avez remarqué sur toutes nos chaînes, là, les saisons recommencent tout doucement. On a parlé de festivals et de films un petit peu plus tôt avec Francine en fin de première heure. Et si on parlait maintenant de télévision, est-ce qu'il y a des séries que vous attendez avec grande impatience? Est-ce que vous êtes déjà accro à certaines séries? Est-ce que
5-year-olds are protected, and antibody is a good measure of that protection. Having matched that antibody response, we're likely to match the protection.
Pfizer plans to have regulators in
Why are you not doing sickle cell testing on newborns, but you want to put a vaccine that has not been tested ever into children?
Cases today, with 138 school
So you had 11 years to find out if they had sickle cell. You didn't bother. If you give them the vaccine, you're damaging them to a point they can't recover from.
Search Kings in 30 seconds. We'll check on the price of gas.
680 News Time 409. Thanks, Toronto.
For continuing to make.
Remember, the vaccines that they are using here, the vaccine. No, it's not the vaccine. It's a vaccine. The ones that they're using here trick your cells into making the protein that damages your blood vessel walls. Oh, that's helpful. That's what I need. Oh, it's better than... No, it's not. I have natural immunity. So no matter how many times the mayor says, you should get it anyway. The public health nurse, you should get it anyway. They're under no commitment to your health. None. Their commitment is to whoever they think the majority is. They really believe white people are the majority. Therefore, in their opinion, every decision they make about public health has to benefit that largest population. You don't like what I'm saying? Go back 2 sentences or 2 minutes and listen to when I said, why are you refusing to do sickle cell testing on newborns? But you know you're damaging a certain number of people. Oh, but it's only this percentage or that percentage. Because Jamaicans don't usually get sickle cell. 16%. We're the highest rate in the world or some shit like that. The idiots that were refusing to read the blood tests I've already got and trying to send me for more blood tests. Remember, I can't do a blood test every day. I can't even do it every month. You're taking out about 6 fucking ounces of blood. Yeah, I can't afford that. I literally can't afford that. The disease I have states that you cannot do that to that person. And instead of reading the test results you have that you've taken over and over, you're going to pretend and pretend and pretend and actually tell me Jamaicans don't usually get sickle cell. People of your back, you asked me my background. I told you, oh, people of your background. So either you didn't listen at all, or you really think I'm stupid enough to believe that the country with the highest reported rate of sickle cell in the world just doesn't have sickle cell. Because there are no black people there, and there's no First Nations there. There's no Taino, there's no Arawak. I should try calling the city. It's either gonna take 20 fucking minutes or I wonder. 16392 CITY 2489.
Welcome to 311 Toronto. For quality coaching purposes, all of our calls are recorded. If this is a fire, police, or medical emergency, please hang up and call 911. Your personal information may be required by our divisional partners and representatives working on their behalf to proceed with this request. Your information is collected under the City of Toronto Act 2006 and Bylaw 878-2004. We are currently experiencing a high volume of calls, and as a result, your wait time may be higher than normal.
Now that message is not based on the call volume. It's based on somebody today figured, oh, it'll be a high volume. Nobody's calling 311 today. They're all busy. All the people that would normally be calling are too busy.
Online at www.toronto.ca/311. 311 Toronto is committed to providing the best service possible to all customers. We remind callers that aggressive behavior, harassment, or coarse language will not be tolerated and may lead to ending the call interaction.
And if you speak French or we think you're black,
please listen
we're going to shit talk you and tell you South Africa's not a country. So it's not possible for someone to be racist to you.
For noise, press 2. For water, press 3. For all other inquiries, press 9 or hold for the next available customer service representative.
That just blew up. I mean, that was a case where the electorate really resented being.
Thank you for calling 311. Tricia speaking. How can I help you?
Hello. I want to report something about, it's a high-rise apartment building. It's an ongoing issue.
Okay, what about the building?
The ventilation systems that are like mandatory to keep the building occupiable, they've been turned off for 2.5 years, and your inspectors keep doing a joke of an inspection. They ordered them to wipe off the grills, but they never ordered them to turn the system on. I can smell cigarette smoke, car exhaust, and garbage. I'm on the 7th floor. It's a mandatory part of the fire suppression system. You're never allowed to turn it off. It's been off for 2.5 years. We've been reporting it 2.5 years. We've had every level of government come in here and say there's nothing wrong, but they're turned off.
Okay, sorry, because you're breaking up there, sir. What exactly is turned off?
The ventilation system, the air supply for the building, the mandatory system that allows the building to be occupied is turned off.
Okay. So I would have to put in a service request for this.
Yeah, I was hoping.
Give me 1 moment here. And have you spoke to property management about this?
This has been an ongoing issue for 2.5 years. This is not an apartment standards issue. This is a fire code issue. It's completely illegal to have people even entering the building with those fans turned off. It has been 2.5 years. We've reported this repeatedly. You want the address? Because it'll pull up a bunch of reports, I'm sure.
Yeah, what is the address?
It's 1011 Lansdowne Avenue. It's right next to the nuclear fuel plant.
Okay, give me another moment here.
On the last inspection, they ordered them to wipe off the grills. So they wiped off the outside of the grills, but they didn't clean the inside or turn it on.
Okay. I'm going to need your name and your phone number, please.
Okay, I'll give you the number first. 647-729-9997. My name is Richard Vanden Kerkhoff. I can spell it if you want me to.
But yeah, I just need the spelling of the last name, please.
It's VAN space DEN space KER KHOF.
Okay, so it's asking if this is an immediate hazard as well.
Well, it's been an immediate hazard for 2.5 years. It's a fire hazard. If there's a fire in this building, it will spread through the whole building, inside and out. The outside's covered in styrofoam, and the inside's got all sorts of problems, including that ventilation being turned off. It's not legal to occupy a building that has it turned off. It's an immediate hazard.
Okay, just bear with me here.
Oh. I just dumped.
Have you brought this to the attention of the landlord and tenant board?
What do you mean? How would I do that? They would. It's not.
Asking me here. So I guess that's a no.
There's no mechanism to do that. I would have to apply for like a rent abatement. You can't apply for a rent abatement for the building not being occupiable. They'll just evict me. They'll order me out of the building. So there's no mechanism for that.
Okay.
Okay.
And do you have the property management phone number and the name?
It's Lansdowne Property Management, but all that's going to happen if you call them is nothing like last time. Let's see, I can pull it up here. I want to make sure I give you the correct number. I'm just opening up my phone here. Give me a second. Where is... Damn it. People. Okay, LPM. The phone number I have is 416-536-2541. But those are the people that have been turning it off for the last 2.5 years. They turn it on the day before fire inspection and turn it off the day after. It was off the entire time you had the rent TO people here in June.
Okay.
One moment. Okay, so I have the reference number.
Okay.
Would you like to? It's 719.
719
31
31
41.
41.
Okay, is there anything else I can help you with?
And that's the big one for me, because there's literally no way out of this building in a fire. It's not cool. That's the big one for me.
Hopefully they can get to it. Okay, but thank you so much for calling. Have
Thank
a great
you.
day.
Have a nice day, miss. You see why people don't call the city? You see why now it may seem ridiculous for me to do a video of me calling the city. How many hours of video do we now have over the last 2.5 years of me calling these people? It's been off for about 6 of the last 9 years or some shit like that. Oh, if it was a black-owned building, they would have killed the landlords and then fucking jailed the property managers and evicted all the tenants. How do I know? They kicked out all the black people out of, I believe it's 1405 Bloor Street or whatever it was, above the it was a Brad J. Lamb or whatever, above the auto body shop, because it's illegal to rent out apartments above an auto body shop. You don't think about it, but yeah, you've got cars in there running all the time, and there's stuff wrong with those cars. Right. It's not the same as a parking garage in a building where you're not allowed to do that kind of work. Right. Up the street here, there's auto body shops with white boys living above them. Nobody says nothing. Nobody says nothing. Now, the reason I don't give a fuck is because those white boys are living in an apartment where there's carbon monoxide. But you see who gets reported and who doesn't, who gets kicked out and who doesn't. The people at that other place that got kicked out is because their carbon monoxide detector went off and they called 911. Right, what's the news say? Oh, the landlord's CO detectors were set too high to be effective. You can't set them. You can place them at too high of an elevation, but there's no setting that you can adjust.
To announce that our show has been moved. 30 a.m., someone drove a turquoise-colored four-door sedan into a pedestrian walkway, then went through the tunnel and drove down a flight of stairs before crashing the car through a set of doors. The car continued through the tunnel and hit a second set of doors before the driver took off. No one was injured, fortunately, but there was significant damage to the station's door frames. Investigators are sharing photos of the car, asking anyone who can help find the driver to reach out to police. You can see those photos over at 680news.com. An Aurora man found out pretty quickly that York police don't like it when someone shines a laser into their helicopter. Air 2 was flying over the area of Wellington West and George on general patrol around 8:30 on Saturday night when the pilot and a flight officer were struck by the bright light source. The crew was able to direct officers on the ground to the suspect inside a home on Hillview Road and found he had a laser pointer pen. 29-year-old Ryan Usler of Aurora is facing 3 charges, including mischief, endangering life. Police are reminding you of the dangers of laser pointers aimed at aircrafts. Health Canada warns a split-second look into a laser pointer can result in a flash blindness and could be a serious situation for a pilot. Coming up in 60 seconds, we'll head on over to the business center where it's
can cause permanent blindness. Here's the other thing that you don't know about your eyes. So firstly, you're not going to catch this till I explain something. Your eye does not see a complete circle of view. It sees a donut. It just sees a ring. There's a ring on this side. Oh, Chomo's getting upset. Chomo's getting so upset. Do you want to know what really pisses him off? 2 weeks ago when I said I was calling the city, these guys turned the ventilator from medium to high, but only one of them. There's 4 ventilators for the building at least, or 5. Well, anyway, so the one that's on, they turned from low to medium last week because they flipped the fuck out because they're watching these videos. And they're mad, and we know everything this guy's up to. He's doing this and he's doing that, and I'm not. You got it all twisted. You sit in recirculated carbon monoxide and viral material all day long, and you think you're good and strong and smart. You also think you got like the inside line on every gamble in the fucking world, and how indebted are you to that? Oh, that's right. The people that own the building run gambling and loan sharking, and all the people testifying for them owe them money. I just got my rental increase notice. You want to know why they're trying to evict me? $664.48. That's why. $664.48. Yeah. You can look at my house and go, what the hell? You live here, nigga? You tripping. You fucked up. $664.48. All of a sudden, it's a luxury palace. All of a sudden, eh? What's that? $20 a day plus $2 or so. We could divide that right now. We could divide that right now. If it was 31 days, let's just see here. Calculator. What did I say? 664.48 divided by, let's divide it by 30 so it's even. Let's just see, 20, well, it's not even. $22.14.93. $22.15. Let's divide it by 31. 664.48 divided by 31. $21.43.44. 43.48. $21.44. And you wonder why the eviction process starts. Because they want to charge $9.75 to all the people getting stipends and so forth, and the organizations. Now remember the last few years when they locked me up in the psych ward, make up stories, $700 a dose for these medications and all these things. Tribunal ends up saying, or here capacity board ends up saying, he's no danger to anybody and he's not sick. And then they move in here, right? What happened to all the people that helped them do that? Well, every single one of them is a white person thinking, I will take over this place and I will be in charge. And what happened? Your contract didn't get renewed. There's any place that's offering 1 or 2 year contracts, there's a reason. It's so they can flip out the staff every 1 or 2 years. I don't know how you don't know that. I think you're trying too hard. I think you're white trash acting like you're part of the royal bloodline or some shit, and you're not. That's why you don't know how things work.
Just so you can sleep at
11, plan to submit them to the FDA and other regulators with urgency. That's a direct quote, with urgency. They can't provide a specific time or date, but it's imminent, right?
It's imminent.
This is already
imminent.
You know, on the fast
if
track
it's going for approval, that is not imminent.
Are we going to be
you just gave
and not approved here? Health Canada is also closely watching this.
You just gave a recommendation to purchase a stock. Wow, you are stupid.
Regulatory authorities may be making this vaccine available to school-aged kids, quote, as early as possible, end quote. So here's the deal then. As a parent,
here's the deal then.
The kids are now coming home from school. Would you feel more confident if maybe, in fact, you haven't put them back in school, you've got them doing the homeschooling thing again?
Is there really only 1 week left in the month?
Would you be more confident knowing that the kids would get vaccinated, your 5 to 11-year-olds, school-aged kids, under the age of 12, obviously. Kids
now remember, you have to be unwilling to understand math to think it's a good idea. I think guaranteeing my kids to have mercury poisoning and guaranteed to have symptoms is better than maybe if they get COVID and develop natural immunity. When it comes to children under 18, that's the deal.
Mandatory vaccines.
I remember they only do over and under 18, over and under 35. So what about 18 to 35? You really think a 35-year-old and an 18-year-old have the same health?
There is going to be a mandated vaccine.
Oh, well, I'm white and strong, so yes. No, it's not.
Just as now we see them, you know, to go into non-essential places. You know, you can't argue the school is non-essential. For essential reasons,
you can't argue the school is non-essential. Yes, you can. Those kids don't work. They don't bring food or medicine in. The teachers are so hell-bent on it because they get $98,000 a year.
Very, very stringently by Health Canada, the FDA, and the US of A.
And yes, it's only for 8 or 9 months, whatever it is out of the year. 9 or 10 months.
Pfizer BioNTech, they just want to rush this.
What the fuck happened to internet radio
into the kids'
Why can't I find it?
En masse.
En masse.
Because it does represent, again, another demographic that also leads to
another French loan word.
A healthier corporate bottom line. Hate to be that cynical. I don't want to be that cynical, but
I hate to be that cynical.
Point of view is out there, so I'm going to open the line.
You say horrible things about black people all the time, but you hate to be cynical.
Concerned about, and I'm sure you are as a parent. How do you feel about 5 to 11-year-olds getting a COVID
9% of the population, 18% of the cases of COVID, and what do? We have to convince these people that they're vaccine hesitant, to convince them they must take the vaccine. These dumb niggers don't know because they're ignorant, because that's what nigger means. Really? Because nowhere in any English dictionary does it say that.
Really hard to come by.
Going
There's a
back
very narrow
600
set of
years, it don't
criteria.
say that.
There's only like 2 bases.
You know what Nero means?
Upon which you
King.
can actually be exempt, and one of those is if you've got an allergic reaction. I'm not even sure on religious grounds you can recuse yourself from getting vaccinated. So this is my question: 5 to 11-year-olds.
Well, there's animal parts in it, so yes, you can. In this country, you can. I'm not sure if you can even fight this, because I had never heard of the Charter and Rights and Freedoms, which was enacted, pay attention, by the current Prime Minister's father.
Let's take some calls. I just want to suss out your thoughts on the matter. That's the latest installment.
You're pretending he's British. Hi, and mighty.
The guy in charge of medicine by design. He's an investigator and assistant prof of biomedical engineering at the U of T when it comes to these kinds of things. But you're first, 870-6400. Your thoughts on the vaccine for children. They're talking about this not being any different from what adults are feeling insofar as toxicity. They even say it's relatively milder, if any, and has at least as much of a robust immune response. So is it all sweetness?
Pumping kids full of mercury is 10 times worse than doing it to adults.
870-6400 from out of town, 888-225-TALK gets you on the Oakley Show. Global News Radio, 640 Toronto.
You've been denied your
Remember, the vaccinologist said don't vaccinate children. This biotech professor, he gets paid to tell you about stuff, says you should do it. What's his area of expertise? It's not kids, it's not vaccines. The fuck's he talking about?
Hi, I'm John from Speedy Glass.
Oh, they go on quote-unquote conventional knowledge. That which has been reported on by the New York Times or whatever. Sorry, I meant to say the New Yorker. Not the car, the magazine. So I thought I had internet radio on here, and I don't. You don't like the things I say? Good. Go watch another channel. What the fuck happened to the internet radio? I know I had it here. Can someone please explain to me why cell phone companies bother putting this sound recorder thing? What's its Ooh, you got a VU meter. And it doesn't work. Oh. Is that working? I don't think it's working. Maybe. AMR, that's what I was looking for. Recording blah 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 dot AMR.
It doesn't work. Oh. It doesn't work. Oh. Is that working? I don't think it's working.
So there is a meal today. Guess what? It's in the same location where the polling station is. I'm not so sure I want to be there. All the people with kids went to the food bank Friday and Monday, and the money comes today or tomorrow or whatever. You got to have a whole schedule to figure out what's going on in the ghetto to figure out where you can fit in and get a meal that day. So first and fourth Saturday would be Saturday the 4th of September, Saturday the 25th of September. So this upcoming Saturday, which is in 5 days at Pelham Park, and then also Monday and Wednesday at Pelham, apparently. Monday and Wednesday at the EPNCHC at 5 o'clock to 5:30. Tomorrow at 5:30 to 6 at the Oasis. So yeah, that's why everybody went to the food bank on Friday from 9 a.m. Food bank don't open till 12. Lineup started at 9. Lineup is along the whole building at 9 till 20 after 3. They close at 3. The line was still there at 20 after 3. 3 days till they get that money. People with kids and so forth. So what was this about the car now? Somebody drove into the Please keep pinging the router. You make your presence known. We know there's pedophiles everywhere. We know you're not gonna make us go. Oh, they're everywhere. What the fuck's going on? We know. We've been warning the younger kids. The older kids warned us. This neighborhood has the highest concentration of sex offenders in North America. Okay, and over half of them get arrested at, I think it's at like the age of 35 or whatever the first time. Yeah, pedophiles don't start at 35, that's right. So with the highest concentration of registered sex offenders, half of them, it's their first offense, which means there's a shitload of them that haven't been caught yet. We know. You're not impressing us. Why'd you stop pinging the router? As soon as I said pedophile, you stopped. Where'd you get the software from? A kiddie porn chat room. I don't like this guy because he keeps saying bad things about pedophiles. I'm gonna keep pressing the button. Keep pressing the button. The SolarWinds hack that I was reporting on 6 months before they reported the SolarWinds hack, the back door you're using that's in the soft. Hey, that malware will never come off your phone. You thought you were a big time hacker. We're gonna. Let's see. You're pathological. This is what sex offenders don't realize. This is what dumb people don't realize. But I'm going to tailor the comment to sex offenders. All sex offenders think they're incredibly smarter than everybody. On average, your IQ is somewhere around 70. Okay. Average being 100. It's the average IQ is somewhere between 92 and what? No, the average is always 100 because 100 means average. All sex offenders will be low. Are you done pinging the router? If I start the music again, you're going to start again? Yo, pussy. Yo. I got more links, but I'm gonna have to. So just to be clear, this was the first crappy half of the show. I'm gonna hit this, and I'll be better in a second. I'll be better. I'm just dealing with my boys, and now you hear this. So woke. I'm just dealing with my boys, and now you hear it. So woke. If you think I'm angry, hey, maybe you don't live here. Maybe you don't see what's going on out here. I ain't angry. I'm just saying what I see. The angry people shooting up restaurants and shit, man.
This study is comparing the amount of neutralizing antibodies to maximum
and Gerard Streets area. He died on scene. Investigators recovering at least.
Now, what did I say? How much do you want to bet $1 somebody got shot tonight? I said that on Friday. This happened.
Recreation programs.
Of course he did.
Several rec centers in the East End. Mayor John Tory sustained touched many lives through his work, and his death has shocked so many.
You're not real. You're not real gangster. Whatever you think a real gangster is.
680 News Time 439.
This is 680 News.
So I lived in the East End for about a dozen years, and so from long story short, I lived in the East End for about a dozen years, and River and Gerard is like the northeast corner of Regent Park. You're always shooting people that work at community centers and shit. Like, I don't care what your beef was with the person. Why is it you go pop off the people? You're popping off people that are easiest to find. The person trying to do good with their life is going to be the easiest one to find. Now, let me guess. Did you shoot him in front of the community center? Did you almost hit some kids or some stupid shit? Because you're not real niggas. You're stupid. You're beefing over things. First of all, why would you ever kill your enemy? I'd rather grind them down to the point where I could walk down this. I'm going to roll by in my Rolls Royce and see him panhandling on the street to buy dope. That's what I want to see happen to my enemies. People are shooting them up. What the fuck did he do? See? I'm just dealing with my boys, and now you hear it. I'm just dealing with my boys, and now you hear it. And what's frustrating me the most at the moment I got nothing constructive to say, and I know I don't. But I said last week, and how many people thought, oh, what a crass, cynical piece of shit. He's like betting on if somebody got shot. Did they say Saturday? And I said that on Friday. I'm pretty sure. We can go back to the videos. I'm pretty sure it was Friday night or something. I said that. Pretty sure. Yeah, Friday night, because I'm not going out hanging out. A whole lot of people are, because there's nothing to fucking do. So I did a video. I remember now. I'm just dealing with my boys, and now you hear it. I'm just dealing with my boys, and now you hear it.
so whoop. I'm just dealing with my boys and now you hear it. So whoop, so whoop, so whoop. I'm just dealing with my boys and now you hear it. So whoop, so whoop, so whoop.
Au cours de la nuit.
Comes those who are between the ages of 2 to 4 or 2 to 5. You know, so
5 years old.
would you favor it?
You think
right
a child's
across the
going to be
board,
able to
like,
self-report
from the
side
age of
effects?
2 right up till 12? Because
someone point something out here. Due to a confluence of events.
Revolutionaries.
Eric Garner. Due to a confluence of events, I did not know I had sickle cell until I contracted B19 at the age of 30. How old am I now? 38. 2019. 2019, at the age of 36, I figured out I have sickle cell. I got B19 in 2018, and about 15 months later, I figured out, yeah, because I got that in July. And Sickle Cell Awareness Month in 2019 was September, and apparently we didn't celebrate in 2020 or 2021 because this is Sickle Cell Awareness Month, and I keep forgetting to mention it. I did not know I had trigeminal neuralgia because nobody talks about this disease because it's called suicide disease. It's a horrible thing to talk about. I don't know how to phrase this. Like, I have clear memories, even when I was about 16, living on the street, of not being able to get up out of my sleeping bag because my face hurts so much, sleeping on a bench or whatever. And the places I hung out, this is a little off topic, but the people were cool enough with street people that they didn't come bother us or get up, Stu. They didn't treat us like that at all. He's passed out on a park bench. So what? Leave him. He's not bothering nobody. Long story short, I did not know that to have pain like this was so abnormal that it was a medical emergency. You think a child is going to know? If a child hurts themselves and their parent yells at them, "Come, keep walking," the kid's going to limp along even with a broken leg. I know because I broke my wrist when I was about 10 years old, let's say. And my mom tried to convince me. This is another weird story. You don't get to say anything bad about my mom. If I do this, my business. You don't get to. For whatever reason, my mom did not want to go straight home or take me straight to the hospital after I broke my wrist, and even tried convincing me that there's nothing they can do for a broken wrist. At that moment, a switch flipped in my brain. It's like, my mom don't give a fuck about me. There's nothing you can do for a broken bone, eh? Like, I don't know about casts and slings. Okay? So for about 45 minutes or so, I don't know, it could have been hours. Okay, we're 5 minutes from our house. It takes 45 minutes to get back to the house because she wants to stop and talk to everybody. I'm standing there holding my broken wrist, trying not to make a scene, in the most excruciating pain. If you ever broke your wrist, you know what I'm talking about. A little kid, so back to my point, a little kid's not going to be able to report side effects from anything. They're not going to know. They're not even going to associate you sticking something in their arm with something going wrong later. Oh, we'll study it statistically, really. Just like you know that Jamaicans don't get sickle cell because you don't test for it here in Canada. And that came from a Chinese doctor. That's what blows my mind. They know medicine.
In other words, you have great reservations about this, whereas the last guy was all gung-ho as an educator.
Yes, but my people have the greatest reservation.
School, kids, you know, with siblings and whatever.
Yeah, that's it.
So obviously, this is going to be a contested kind of a rollout when it happens, and it's going to happen real soon because they're seeking approval with the regulatory bodies. This is for 5 to 11-year-olds, but they were already.
You see what he just did? That's like logic jumps.
I get it, Philip.
It's happening soon because they're seeking approval. The mandatory rollout will be soon because they're seeking approval.
Died from COVID, they say. This was a 10-year-old. Late last
they
week.
say.
Trouble is,
they say.
The other part of the equation is there were underlying conditions. So further to Philip's point, you know, it's a.
Now again, the way these people see things is if you have an underlying health condition, then you're inferior. So it's okay if you die from this. I still have crackheads arguing with me that your body learns from viruses and gets stronger. No, you're thinking of bacteria and other oddball things like molds and funguses, which are not defined as being plants or animals or living or dead. A mold spore you cannot prove is alive, although the same thing could be said of a seed for the most part. Can't prove it's alive, just like a virus. Once you're infected with a virus, now I'm going to repeat myself over and over here. Once you're infected with a virus,
You're always infected with that virus. It's like a software update to your computer that you can't roll back. There's no undoing it. Okay, your body can fight it off to the point where it can't be detected anymore, but it's still in your body. Yeah, and I know this firsthand, and this comes from having a compromised immune system, because this friggin' H7N9, what was it, swine influenza, keeps coming back every so often. When my immune system's just absolutely beat, I get sick with the same symptoms again. Right? Well, I'm making that up, right? Like now at the age of 38, I could put this together and write it down and say maybe there's a connection here. And I know that half the fucking discoveries in modern science were by accident. A little kid's not going to be able to tell you this, though. A little kid's not going to be able to say, hey, you know those colds I had last year? This year I feel much worse when I get a cold, or whatever. They're not going to be able to tell you any of this shit. They cannot self-report. It's, in a sense, if you were giving an experimental vaccine, which they did, you shouldn't be giving it to seniors, because, again, there's all sorts of shit they're not going to be able to self-report. Whether they got dementia or all sorts of underlying health conditions, they're not going to be able to self-report. Some of them will be incredibly able to participate in a survey and tell you what it makes them feel like and all this other shit. But so Extendicare, nursing home fire. What was it? Was it July 14th? I could be wrong. 1980. 30 people died. There was an inquest, coroner's inquest. There was a review of the inquest. On there was a committee that chaired that review, and my grandfather was the chairperson of that committee, and he's listed as the author of the report. And for example, one of the problems is basically the fire codes in place rely on people being able to get up and run out of a burning building, as you almost expect most people to do. There's a Mitch Hedberg joke there. If I have legs and I can move, if there's a fire and I have legs, I am never blocking a fire exit, meaning you're going to get up and move. Well, old people cannot get up and run down a flight of steps, and that's why 30 people died. And dying in a fire is horrible, whether you burn alive or more than likely you suffocate on a combination of carbon monoxide, a whole bunch of other horrible chemicals, and particulate matter, which will have you choking and coughing. Okay, it's not like just breathing in pure carbon monoxide and then you die in your sleep. It is a horrible way to die. My grandfather died, I believe it was 92. Yeah, 30 years ago. What have they changed since then? I'm going to fill the next 11 minutes with music and me smoking marijuana. You're welcome to join me. I have other URLs, but you know what? Let's see. Give me one off the top of the list here.
Yo, we being targeted. Word up, man. We being hunted. All black men beware, but we will not be the prey. Swore out here. Gather oils and get ready. Bulletproof. Window glass don't shatter. They wildin' out like black lives don't matter. The other day, the beast tried to blame me. It's war zone. In the hood, they brought the Navy. Unrest, protest, stay 7. Cause they killed a strong black man like James Evans. Daytime, we trying to keep this shit peaceful. Nightfall, I'm out looking with the people. Police shooting, tear gas, rubber bullets. The end of the world, ain't no other way to put it. Pearl Harbor, looking like Okinawa. Even through the thick of it all, we smoking sour. Repeat fellas, got us in the street yelling. Fuck that, I have a dream speech be selling. They telling lies. World news will blitzer. Don't be a sheep and let the wolf get you. Yo, we strike back. Take one of mine, stick one of yours. Yo, we strike back. Take one of mine, stick one of yours. We strike back. Take one of mine, stick one of yours. Yo, we strike back. Strike back, strike back, strike back. I trust none. Just got a new 40, ain't scared to bust on. I do it accordingly, disorderly, accustomed to outrage city life like Ukraine. Cops shoot my youth like Saddam Hussein. Shifty, we shut them down, kick them like cocaine. Dare them to walk back. What? My crew bangs is no game. Beast waiting to.
So, some whatever entity. Keep it up, up and down. We know. So whatever entity is pinging the hell out of the router right now. We're gonna lose sound in a few minutes. Why? It takes him about 8 minutes to do that. He's got an 8,000 millisecond ping time, but he thinks he's a hacker. Right, Ukraine. Go back a few years, Ukraine, the people revolt, and there are pictures and video of, I'm not suggesting violence against the police, I'm just telling you to look something up on the news, of the people, the rebels, whoever you want to call them, with the police, uniformed police, on their knees, asking for forgiveness from the people. Did they shoot them all in the back of the head? No, but they did make them ask for forgiveness.
Take a light, burglar cities, murderers, meet the viper when I strike. Blam, blam on a bam, I open like I open them like with the hammer. If they crooked Nina sings, I ain't got no time. Hit them up, Officer O'Connor, I'm a bomber. Lit them up, you dig? Pigs feel the karma, no drama. I've been a terror to this darkness, but due to my dark skin, I'm a moving target. We strike back. It's one for Powell, one for Martin, one for Rice, one for Bell, and another for Eric Garner. Hey, yo, we strike back. Take one of mine, stick one of yours, yo, we strike back. Take one of mine, stick one of yours, we strike back. Take one of mine, stick one of yours, yo, we strike back. Strike back, strike back, strike back. The court system ain't got no honor. Only I can judge me, a man hell burning marijuana. Run to Obama, where's my change? Man, that shit ain't been abolished. The problem is, we're still enslaved. We at war with 5-0. My eyes show you can see the pain in my soul. Demonstrate the entire state. Stand up, hands up. Surrender and you still get blamed up. Silence ain't gonna be no more compliance. New.
I said this the other day too, in reference to what I forget, but there's going back to the 80s in Toronto. There's reports of 14-year-old kids stabbing undercover cops, things like this. Just the instant they realize it's a cop, bam. Why? You wonder why. You wonder why.
We ain't against use of violence. They don't care. You can get shot like a dog. Cause these cops think they on top of the law. These ain't no lies. Why you acting or surprised? It's a million more.
Tell me about that. I mean, how does that work? It's how does that work? Just something rather than actually comparing.
What's that antibodies? Is that like antimatter? Can you see it on your Star Trek tricorder?
Or is it still, a foolproof approach?
It's still a good approach, and we have to look at it from the progression.
Foolproof. Did you just use the word foolproof? Are they looking for foolproof?
That when you vaccinate people and then they went about their lives and they happen to get exposed to coronavirus, were they protected? And then they also looked at their antibody responses. So for children, it's a bit.
But they're not looking at the antibody responses of people that already went through the infection. And
coronaviruses, including Delta, is different.
They're not doing testing on people that have been vaccinated.
But you can also look at these antibodies because you looked at the antibodies in adults anyway, and they found a pretty good correlation between having antibodies and antibodies that kill coronavirus in your blood. So it's a good thing to look at.
Wait, what did you just say? You're double talking.
Look at that as well, because you can just do a blood test. It's very definitive.
You can just do a blood test.
Vaccine resulted in your body.
How many blood tests have I done, and they still won't tell me my blood type?
Dr. Khan,
it's just a blood
there's going
test.
to be resistance because I'm hearing it already. Where a lot of people.
You're just anemic. You'll die if we keep taking blood from you. Yeah, but it's just a blood test. How about this? 99% of people die in the home by accident. You're taking too much blood from me. I'm going to get dizzy and fall down in my own house after.
10 or 12
bang on the shelf or
something. Over the last year, this is a result of underlying conditions. So why bother?
That's how people kill you accidentally on purpose. Accidentally on purpose.
Long-range studies. Is it
I accidentally put peanuts in his food.
They already have a robust immune response.
Just to the little kids.
I think it's important that we look at how we got here.
By the way, the little kids, you're not comparing the before numbers to the after. I knew there was a piece of missing data.
Certain parts of the world,
okay,
those folks are vaccinated.
I can't listen. I can't listen. What was the kids' antibody response before you gave them the thing? Did you track all the parents and everybody in these kids' lives to see if they had already come into contact with COVID? What was their antibody response before and after exposure? Did you do all that? Because if you didn't, it wasn't a complete study. If in the age of being able to do genomic sequencing of complete organisms, you are not doing a complete study if you're not doing all that. Because there's all sorts of variables you're not fucking account music, right?
we survive. Bust shots to rotten apple. Stay on your map, it's a trap. You be a shot, yo, we strike back. Take one of mine, take one of yours, yo, we strike back.
So just to be clear, I don't think I have all the answers. I just got lots of questions. I'm not an anti-vaxxer, anti-masker, any of these things. You'll notice I keep telling you I'm exempt from the mask rule, and I wear one all the time anyway. I was wearing one before this shit came up because I had a bunch of reasons to, but it comes down to me having B19, which is contagious to you, and it comes down to me suffering acute chest syndrome, which is a symptom of sickle cell, which is a bad thing for me. And sometimes to be able to breathe, I got to inhale through my mouth, so I cover my whole face, and I'm less likely to suck in dust and dirt into my lungs, basically. The problem here, I just have lots of questions you people are answering. And then when I see other jurisdictions, Europe, China, Russia, doing things differently, and acknowledging the things you're not acknowledging, on the vaccine passports in Europe that the people are absolutely rioting over, they're including antibody response. If you already had COVID and your antibody response is strong and they can test that and prove it, then you get the same equivalent stamp on your vaccine passport. You're essentially vaccinated. You're naturally immune to it. And they're not going to do that here in Canada. So any reason I would have to say I'm not getting vaccinated is, well, let's test your antibodies. Yes, let's test. Oh, you don't need the vaccine. No, I didn't think so. And end of story. They don't even have to ask, what's your race? I mean, medical condition. Because, yes, my race is revealed by my medical condition. I need music.
One of mine, take one of yours, we strike back. Take one of mine, take one of yours, yo, we strike back. Strike back, strike back, strike back, yo, we strike back. Take one of mine, take one of yours, yo, we strike back. Take one of mine, take one of yours.
Is she talking about stacking millions or catching rare diseases that kill off all our children?
Fucking Friday night, where the fuck is everybody? I just wanna party, like I won the lottery. Fucking Friday night, where the fuck is everybody? I just wanna party, like I won the lottery. I just wanna party, like I won the lottery. I just wanna party, like I won the lottery. Fucking Friday night, where the fuck is everybody? I just wanna party, like I won the lottery. Where you at? Hit me up, what is money? What is next? Get us paper, get us cash. No, we here, with my niggas in the trash. Put it in, flip it quick, get it back. Add me up, with my niggas in the room. Cleaning up, sweeping up with a broom. Run it down, run it down, run it down. Double cup, double cup, double cup. So I got a couple racks today. Didn't think I'd make it, but I made it back today. Cashing out in the bank every day. Put in work, getting paid. Where my niggas at? Fucking Friday night, where the fuck is everybody? I just wanna party, like I won the lottery. Fucking Friday night, where the fuck is everybody? I just wanna party, like I won the lottery. I just wanna party, like I won the lottery. I just wanna party, like I won the lottery. Fucking Friday night, where the fuck is everybody? I just wanna party, like I won the lottery. Just got off the plane, juice all in my veins. Buzzing my name, no one on these flames. Fucking Friday night, I ain't playing no games. I'm that West End chick that was raised in the lane. And yeah, you won't believe, pay up, just raise the fee. They call it, but they can't get a hold of me. It's Free South Friday, BET, raise a bar for the sea. If the work ain't clean, don't come for me. They show up for, but they don't wanna come around.
I thought I dismissed that, but I guess I didn't. So this same girl said, never leave my home without my iPhone charger. I got weird stuff happening on this.
Chopper traffic brought to you by Guildhall Wealth.
If I click on this, what's going to happen? Now see, it's funny when I say, what would happen if I click on this? The machine freezes up before I touch anything. Freezes up before I touch it. Yeah. Every time I look up, I want to see an edited picture of me, bro. Click that. And this is so creative. Doing the exact same thing to us over and over for 2 years is so creative.
Toronto chopper traffic.
Savvy investors know that physical gold and silver is an ideal investment strategy.
Yes, after I silenced the alarm. After I silenced the alarm, and a full minute after it should have ended, it goes off twice. It's always 2 times, right? And if I made the right remark right now about these goofs, they would do it again. It would beep again. So we still got sound? Fucking idiots. Yes, up and down. You just don't believe I can see that you're doing it till I show, till you see that stupid up and down thing. That's the only thing this idiot can do. He thinks it's an action. You understand there's no security on this whatsoever. It's a TV box, bro. You're not a hacker. You're not a hacker.
With the block, we wet the block, raining down on all you hoes. Wet the block, we wet the block, our buildings we don't even know. Wet the block, we wet the block, I call the chopper or roll. Wet the block, we wet the block, oh weather, wet the block, we wet the block, we raining down on all you hoes. Wet the block, we wet the block, our buildings we don't even know. Wet the block,
well, you knew that already, so you got a feeling if you wanted to watch that, you wouldn't be watching this.
We ran it down on all you hoes. Wet the block, we wet the block on buildings we don't even own. Wet the block, we wet the block, I call the chopper or a roll. Wet the block, we wet the block, the weatherman didn't even know. Wet the block, we wet the block, we ran it down on all you hoes. Wet the block, we wet the block on buildings we don't even own. Wet the block, we wet the block, I call the chopper or a roll. Wet the block, we wet the block, the weatherman didn't even know. Wet the block, we wet the block, but we not into violence though. Wet the block, we wet the block, we tryna put out all the smoke. Wet the block, we wet the block, your tears are what's gonna flood the road. Wet the block, we wet the block, but we not into violence though. Wet the block, we wet the block, we tryna wash away the pain. Wet the block, we wet the block, my enemies have done the same. Wet the block, we wet the block, the cycle then restarts again. Wet the block, we wet the block, but never get rid of the stain. Wet the block, we wet the block, we rain it down on all you hoes. Wet the block, we wet the block, on buildings we don't even know. Wet the block, we wet the block, I call the chopper, oh, oh, oh. Wet the block, we wet the block, the weather, they didn't even know. Wet the block, we wet the block, we rain it down on all you hoes. Wet the block, we wet the block, on buildings we don't even know. Wet the block, we wet the block, I call the chopper, oh, oh, oh. Wet the block, we wet the block, the weather, they didn't even know. Wet the block, les adolescents et les jeunes adultes, après le deuxième tour. Wet the block, you better stay inside. Wet the block, we wet the block, there's no place you can hide.
Yes, this is Canada. Every single outlet will have the exact same top 3 stories. We're used to it. No, I just changed the station 4 times. You heard the same story 4 times. The exact, like I feel like I'm apologizing to the world. Like, I'm so sorry. This is what counts as news here.
Lauren made it.
The more I'm listening, the less I'm learning. I'm becoming more empty-headed very quickly. I'm sorry. You're saying, yeah, I did this.
God forgot about that. Forced to fend for themselves.
Adults, foreign nationals traveling to the United States being fully vaccinated.
It's not clear how the new policy will specifically impact travel.
I heard foreign national. I heard foreign national. I thought it was a different story. It wasn't.
Prohibited from crossing. The White House also has yet to provide details on.
How many dicks did we get so far? I couldn't get him. Snatch him up quick. If he scream, I'ma pull him out and heat to his face. I shot him so I can take him out. When the fight and got the cash.
I thought in 2021, whatever, we were beyond having to explain hip-hop music. It's not always real. Just like any other song. If you hear sirens in the background, those are real. This is sort of an example of how not to be. And what was the last one? There's some irony that I know. I'm listening to that song while I'm trying to catch up on news of the shooting on River Street.
Are lifted. Our business editor, Chris McCusker.
And that one night on buildings we don't even own, there's like a detail there that we're not aware of. We would have to look up to find out. No, because for example, where this shooting just happened, on one side of the street is government-owned buildings, on the other side are privately owned. But there's no condos down there. Well, there is now, but all the fucking shootings and shit that happened over dirty money in the last 40 fucking years. No matter how much money you have, you could not buy property there. What the fuck are you fighting over?
The big amount, dead cold in his eyes, without fear. Money speak that explain the voices I've been hearing. You ain't really out.
That's the same. That sounds exactly like the same. It's another variation of the same story. You know, 31 flavors: vanilla, 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 and vanilla.
Scream, I'm gonna pull him out. The big amount, dead cold in his eyes, without fear. Money speak that explain the voices I've been hearing. You ain't really out there. No more you move. I lie. And as I stick up turn homicide. So that's the way our mama died. If you with me, I'm a slide.
So we slid, had to get our game plan together, cause a little bit of stick desperate. On the edge with no place to go, we can't go back to when we suck up everyone we know.
Cause most those cats you grab was like bam. Remember when we had the new Lex with the two text roll to the duplex, breaking style. Think about what we gonna do next. We used to work tight, half asphalt down the turnpike, hoping everything will go right. As another block to flow all night. Up to it was all tight. Fuck that. You and your brother, we came out the same cookie, but I'm gonna tell you, you dummy. You fucked up my money. Nah, the money fuck take, make you wanna erase me. Fuck that, you got a side deal. Somebody raided the block. Now how the fuck I'm supposed to know the undercover was the cop? Let's put down the guns, let this bull. Nigga, I ain't fucking down, you let this chill, man. Fuck that, nigga. I beat it. Wait, man. What, nigga? It got me like that, nigga. Then go ahead. Pull the trigger. Go ahead. You ain't going to. No! People will rob from me.
Wow, this is so creative. This is so creative what you're doing. If you had a real internet connection. Jesus Christ, man.